This is your one and only 𝐈𝐸𝐸 with your daily dose of video goodness, and today we're going to talk about what may be one of the most OP builds in Baldur's Gate 3. Let's get to it. So just a heads up before we dive into this is a Theorycraft video. While I do own the early access version of Baldur's Gate, I'm holding out on really getting into playing it until the released version is out because I don't want to spoil stuff for myself. However, due to the fact that the game closely follows the 5th edition of the Player's Handbook for Dungeons & Dragons, and there is a bunch of information on it out there, considering it's been in early access for some time, it was pretty easy to Theorycraft this build and have a general idea of how it's going to play out. With around 176 hours of cinematics and approximately 1.9 million spoken words, this game is going to be very heavily story driven, which means there's going to be an absolute insane amount of talking to people, which means we're going to be doing a lot of convincing and intimidating and persuading people throughout the game. Obviously, there is going to be plenty of combat as well, but considering the fact that the game appears to be insanely story-driven, that means one of the best things you can have on your character is extremely high charisma. That, along with anything and everything you can get a hold of that's going to give you proficiency to persuasion, intimidation, and deception, is going to make you extremely overpowered. And it just so happens we have a really good class that is charisma-based, and that is the Bard. Not only that, the Bard is also a jack of all trades and has the ability to tap into the power of every other class in the game. So we're going to choose a Tiefling because Tieflings get a bonus to their charisma, and we are going to choose a Mephistopheles Tiefling on top of that. That is going to get us the Mage Hand cantrip. Now this is a racial cantrip, so this does not take up any of our cantrip slots. Now some of you may be asking, if we're going on charisma based and making a character that can basically manipulate every single person around them, then why would we not choose thaumaturgy? Because in the game, that grants us an advantage on intimidation and performance checks. Well, the thing is, we're not really going to need that, and this is a way to get Mage Hand without having to use up one of our cantrip slots, because from everything I've seen, Mage Hand is super strong in this game. You can use it to do all kinds of super handy utilitarian things. We will also get the Bardic Inspiration ability by default, which allows us to buff an ally by adding a 1d6 bonus to their next attack roll, ability check, or saving throw. For our background, we are going to select Guild Artisan. This is going to get us insight proficiency and persuasion proficiency. Insight is going to be insanely handy for knowing things like when someone is lying to us or telling us the truth. For our first two cantrips, we are going to choose Vicious Mockery and Friends. Vicious Mockery is going to be super handy because not only is it going to allow us to deal 1d4 damage, but it is a psychic spell that is also going to cause the target that we cast it on to receive a disadvantage on their next attack roll. This is just the beginning of the absolute massive control we are going to have over the battlefield by the time we are done. We are also going to pick up the Friends cantrip. This enchants a non-hostile creature to gain advantage on charisma checks against it. However, once the spell ends, the creature knows it was charmed and might accuse the spellcaster. But there are ways around this that we should be able to make it so that the creature that we cast this on can never track the spell back to us. The spells that we are going to pick up are Healing Word, because healing is great for keeping your allies alive, and we are going to rely heavily on our allies to do a majority of the combat for us while we are the ones who control the battlefield. They are going to be the ones that do all the damage. So we need to ensure that we can keep them alive. And if we are the ones keeping them alive, that means we don't necessarily need a cleric in the group, which leaves us room to pack the group with more heavy damage dealing classes. Next, we pick up Dissonant Whispers, which allows us to not only damage a target, but frighten it for 2 turns as well. And when something is frightened in this game, it is completely locked down and cannot do anything on its turn. Much like Dissonant Whispers, we also pick up Charm Person. This magically charms a humanoid to gain an advantage on ability checks and dialogue and prevents it from attacking. So we can use this during a fight, and as long as we do not damage the target for 10 turns, it will not attack you or your allies. Much like Friends, this also gives us the ability to gain an advantage on ability checks when we are in dialogue. However, just like friends, the person will know that they have been charmed after the spell is over, and they may become hostile to you. Last but not least, we grab one of, if not the most important spell in our toolkit, and that is Disguise Self. There are a lot of prejudices in D&D, so we need to ensure that any race that we are dealing with, we are disguised as the same race or a race that they are friendly with, so we can maximize our manipulation. And Disguise Self will allow us to do that. Level 2 is a rather simple level. There's not a whole lot going on here, but we do gain two really nice abilities. We gain the Song of Rest, which gives our party a short rest, and it can be used during combat. This restores half of everyone's maximum HP and restores a warlock's spell slots. We also gain the Jack of all trades ability, which gives us proficiency bonuses, and we gain a new spell slot, a level 1 spell, and for that we pick Sleep, because once again, this allows us to maintain our focus on manipulating and controlling the battlefield by allowing us to put multiple creatures to sleep. Level 3 is where things start to get a bit more interesting. When a bard hits level 3, they pick their first subclass. We are going to pick the College of Lore. The reason we pick the College of Lore is because at level 6, this gives us the additional magical secrets ability, allowing us to learn 2 spells from any class, including 3rd level spells. Now, we also get the magical secrets ability at level 10, which essentially does the same thing. This is insanely strong and allows us to fill any single gap that we need in our party makeup, making not only us, but our group as a whole infinitely stronger. We also improve our proficiencies because we gain additional proficiencies by default in Arcana, Intimidation, and Sleight of Hand. Then we get to pick expertise in 2 other proficiencies, and we are going to pick Deception and Persuasion. This is going to help increase our success rate for passing every possible charisma check. We also get to pick a new level 1 spell in which we are going to choose Tasha's Hideous Laughter, furthering our ability to completely shut down targets on the battlefield. This lasts for 10 turns. The creature that you cast this on can roll for saving throws against this. However, as long as it is active, it completely shuts down a single target from being able to do anything in combat. It also knocks them prone, meaning that anyone that does attack them will gain advantage on attacks. We also get to choose 2 level 2 spells. Those spells are going to be Detect Thoughts and Calm Emotions. Detect Thoughts furthers our ability to manipulate all those around us, especially in conversations, because it can give us an idea of what the person that we are talking to is thinking, and it can also extract things like passwords and other goodies from unwilling subjects. Calm Emotions suppresses emotions in an area, preventing everything in the area from being charmed or frightened. This is one of the first battlefield control spells that we are going to pick up that will allow us to ensure that our allies are able to continue fighting, preventing them from being charmed or frightened. At level 4, we get to pick up a new cantrip, and that is going to be Bane. Bane targets up to 3 creatures, and those 3 creatures receive a 1d4 penalty on attack rolls and saving throws. We also get to pick up a new level 2 spell, and that spell is going to be one of our first big damaging spells, and that is going to be Heat Metal. Not only does this give us more control over a target, it also does a decent amount, or can do a decent amount of damage to them. Heat Metal causes a metal weapon or armor to glow red hot and forces the creature touching it to let go or receive disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks. If a creature is only wearing metal armor, it always receives disadvantage. If the creature is still touching the metal, you can use a bonus action on subsequent turns to deal 2d8 fire damage and force the creature to let go or receive disadvantage. Not only that, this also gives us the ability to use a bonus action, which is an action separate from our main action. For those who do not know, every single turn that this spell is active in order to do additional damage to the target. Note that this is a concentration spell, so it is possible for something to break our concentration, meaning that this spell will no longer be active. However, as long as we are able to keep up our concentration, this spell will last up to 10 turns. Now, here's where things start to get really fun, because at this level, we get to pick a feat. And there are a whole bunch of different feats, but we have 2 options to choose from, and I'm not really set on which one of these is the best. I think it's going to come down to the specific party that you end up using. So first off, there is the Magic Initiate Wizard, and there are 2 cantrips that we can get from this that are going to be super helpful for the build, and that is Ray of Frost and Firebolt. Both of these rays allow us to affect things that are on the ground. So Ray of Frost will allow us to create slick surfaces, causing things that are on those surfaces to go prone. So for example, if there was water or blood on the ground and we cast Ray of Frost on it or over top of it, it will create an ice surface, causing things to fall. Likewise, if there is a grease or oil surface on the ground, we can cast Firebolt to light that surface on fire, causing everything standing inside of it to take damage over time. We also get to pick a level 1 spell from the wizard spell set. And for that, we are going to pick Find Familiar. The reason we pick Find Familiar is because we can cast on touch spells with our familiar. We can also use our familiar to eavesdrop and a whole host of other things because we have a psychic connection to our familiar. And this is where I said there should be ways to keep a target from knowing that we cast specific spells, because we can use our Find Familiar to do things like cast Charm Person. We can be far from the person that we know we are about to talk to, send our familiar in near that person, use it to cast Charm Person, have our familiar go away, and then we can walk up to the person and initiate a conversation with them. At this point, they shouldn't have any idea that that familiar belongs to us, allowing us to get away with casting Charm Person on them. The other good option here would be Magic Initiate Warlock. This also allows us to pick 2 Warlock cantrips and a Warlock spell. For this, we are going to pick Eldritch Blast, which will become our new main damage spell, as well as Poison Spray, another rather hefty damage spell. Poison Spray deals 1d12 damage and has a range of about 10 feet. When you reach level 5, this cantrip will deal 2d12, and when you reach level 11, it deals 3d12. And for our Warlock spell, we choose Hex. Hex curses a creature to deal an additional 1d6 necrotic damage every time you hit that creature with an attack. The creature also has disadvantage on ability checks for one ability of your choosing. So which one of these magic initiates you choose is going to depend on whether you feel that you need more firepower or you need more manipulation. So that is all I have mapped out for this build so far, because from there things start to get a little wishy-washy on where the build can possibly go, due to the fact that level cap is just recently up to 5 in the early access version, and we would have to base the rest of our theory crafting purely on the 5th edition handbook. And due to the fact that I know they have made a lot of little changes here and there in order to adapt the handbook to the game, I felt that this was a decent point to leave off at. So let me know what you all think about this build and the idea of it down there in the comment section. Do you think it's going to be a solid build for the game? Do you think it's trash? Let me know. I'm eager to hear your all's thoughts. And if you found this video helpful and informational, please consider hitting the subscribe button and notification bell so you can be notified when I upload other videos. And if you're looking for some more Baldur's Gate 3 content, you can find a link to another one of my videos on the screen right now. I want to give an absolute massive shout out and thank you to all of my channel supporters for helping to keep these videos sponsor free. You all are absolutely amazing people. If you would like to become an official channel supporter, check out the links in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. If you're shy, you don't like to comment, just hit that thumbs up button and share your support. Until next time, thanks for watching.